eve. Okay, we don't know when. It's evening for us. We don't know when everybody will be listening to this. But hello. This is the first ever podcast we're doing. We have no idea what the name is.
No idea.
We just know that my name is Onora Abwa.
Yep. And I am Kofi Asante.
So this is the Patoranking and Sarkodie connection from Nigeria to Ghana, or Ghana to Nigeria. Aflawo to Seme, basically.
I'm not from Aflawo.
No, but you know, the idea is the borders of Ghana to the borders of Nigeria. So anyway, this is the first episode. We don't really know what we're going to talk about, but we're going to start out by talking about a very topical human being. I say we don't know what we're talking about, then we start by talking about a topical human being, somebody who's in the news and just in the last few moments we felt led to speak about, and that is Burna Boy.
It's your boy Burna
Boy, who's having the moment of the decade, at least for an African artist. First of all, which African artist has had a moment like this that you can?
I mean, arguably, you've got Wizkid.
When did Wizkid?
I mean, maybe not in the West like the way Burna, because you know how I was saying Burna was doing what?
Wizkid had a Joe Legba period.
Yeah. But even maybe his last song, Other Sounds of, what was called? Yeah, I don't think it went. It was me. I love that album.
But you know, the thing with Wizkid as well is, I feel like Wizkid has always had a kind of. I know he's got a massive audience in Africa, but his music
and his diaspora as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. The diaspora, even the black diaspora, not just African diaspora, black people like him around the world. Yeah. But I feel as though his music is just better than all the rest. You understand? But it's the same thing. You understand what I mean? So if you listen to the Kenyan, South African, Nigerian, Ghanaian, Afro beats, whatever you want to call it, music, his is just the better version of everybody's. Okay. There's no real no experimentation with music. Actually, there is. No, wait. Let me finish.
I'm glad.
There's experimentation, but it's not too ambitious or daring. Whereas, why Burna is having this moment is because Burna is linking a musical history with a modern kind of millennial bravery. You know, the millennials just don't give a damn like previous generation. Yeah. They least give a shit generation. Mm-hmm. He's like linking it, like he's not afraid to say, you know what, let me take from Fela. The rest of them might do it in small ways. Yes. You know, they might wear a dress, paint their eye or something like that. But he's like, I'm really going there.
Can I interject in here?
Go for it.
So do you think, and I just thought of this whilst you were saying this, do you think the reason why Burna Boy is able to do this because over time, because it's been with everything, it happens progressively. Like
yeah.
So you have initially we had High Life, which was like proper African music, right? And then you've got hip hop, and then you get these new guys that sort of bring a little bit of the High Life, bring a little bit of hip hop, and then slowly it keeps going closer and closer.
Yeah.
And then it gets to a point where that is big enough that you're comfortable, or you got the audience enough to revert back to almost bring them back into the African high life. So I think, the point I'm trying to make is, so you think of like Wizkid when he started, when he was doing, what's like his first song, like
Tease Me,
Don't Doll. What's that, Pakurumo or something?
Pakurumo. Even later.
That was proper Nigerian. That wouldn't translate to the rest of the world. And then what he did was he took his natural Nigerian sound, meshed it with more sort of modern music in terms of hip hop or whatever.
Yeah.
So because his last album, the other sounds, what do they call it? The other sounds from the other side. Sorry. So that one had Come Closer with Drake.
Oh yeah.
Naughty Ride, African Bad Girl, and the thing is, each one of them, the undertone was African. That's what I liked about it.
There's no question that. By the way, everybody, even in England. Even in America, not maybe in America, but in England, everybody is having the African undertone. So that in itself doesn't impress me.
No, but then don't forget, he started way longer than that.
No, I know. What I get the feeling of with Wizkid is that Wizkid tries very hard to please whoever he's collaborating with. I'll give you an example. He did so. His bread and butter is the Tiwa Savage type of songs. That's his bread and butter. But then it seems as though he has ambitions to crack America on their terms. Whereas with Burna Boy is just he's like me as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
He makes music for himself. He makes the music he wants to see. Okay. And why I say the musicality is because Burna Boy, you can tell there's an ode to the historical origins of his music.
Yeah.
But like I'm sure with you guys in Ghana growing up, there are certain songs, African songs, you just used to listen to in the 90s or 80s, whatever, right? Like they were just certain songs. In Nigeria, you heard Shina Peters. If you were living in Lagos, you heard it somewhere. You didn't really listen to Fela, you heard Shina Peters. Wizkid and those kind of people, even though they're younger than us, they're from that generation. They heard Shina Peters. It's just the Lagos music you hear.
Yeah.
Whereas with Burna Boy, there's a worldliness to it. There's the historical Fela connection.
Yeah.
And the people that are associated with Fela. Yeah. Then there's there's obviously hip hop influence, which he would have no doubt been. I think he's 27, so there's no doubt he was influenced by that. But it's interesting because he's 27 and he was jamming Naughty by Nature. Yeah. Naughty by Nature. Hip Hop Hooray was like I was 6, 7.
We're older than 27.
And we're much older than 27. So he's going back to history. At various, he listens to different types of music. It's like in film, good filmmakers, not good filmmakers, but some of the best filmmakers have studied films from every era, not just the common one.
Yeah, you need to know.
And I think that's where, for me, Burna is like.
Okay, so I think. What I'd say is, okay, let's just take Burna out of the equation right now. I think I guess it's easy to do this thing where there are two big African artists, so we kind of pit them against one another. That's not what we're trying to do. That's not what we're trying to do. Yeah. But just to, and I take your point about what you said about Wizkid in terms of you feel that he is almost doing his music on the American style and stuff like that. And a lot of people feel
whoever he's collaborating with.
A lot of people feel that way. Me personally, I disagree with it, and I'll tell you why. So this album, and this was the album that convinced me otherwise.
The other songs.
Sounds from the other side. Yeah. So this is an album that features Drake, Major Lazer, Chris Brown, Ty Dolla $ign, and Trey Songz. Right.
So you just named every major rapper in America.
But okay, I'll finish. So, and this is what you're right. So from that sound, from what I've just said, you would think that he's doing it according to their playbook. I know. Let me finish. But this is what he does. So he brings them on. So initially, I had the same feeling before I listened to it. When I listened to it, he's having Chris Brown change his voice
I heard some of it.
Same thing with Ty Dolla $ign, same thing with Trey Songz. So, and the thing is, what he's doing is he's actually bringing them into the Nigerian culture, at least from my perspective.
I see what you mean.
Having said that, yes, the song itself is not maybe as.
But who the hell wants to hear Chris Brown say?
That's besides the point.
Look, and that's where I'm like,
subjective. We all like different things. No. But the point of the matter is, he went to them, developed a relationship enough to go with all the bigger stars in the world, quote unquote, and get them to adapt to the African music. Okay. That in itself is something to be proud of, because no African artist at that point, well, I won't say no African, but at that time, you won't get a lot of African artists being able to do that.
Okay, they're both doing. Okay, like you said, we're not comparing. Yeah. I mean, we're not. But you have to.
We're not pitting them against.
We're not pitting them against each other. It's just a question of. It's just a question of.
Remember?
Okay, which
GCSEs, compare and contrast. That's what we're doing.
Compare and contrast. In other words, what the hell is the difference? No, but Trey Songz is on a song called Busy.
Yeah.
I understand he's bridging gaps and things like that. But for me, why again? And I don't even know what we're actually bringing Wizkid up for. But I guess we're saying that they're not the same. But for me personally, musically, it's just very hard to, like, it just feels as though they will get a time. No, actually, that's not fair. Wizkid is evolving too. So let's let's just give him his props. He's involved. I don't even actually want to criticize the guy. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's just doing a different thing. And also I think he is influenced differently to Burna. Again, Burna grew up in Port Harcourt, very different to Lagos. Yeah. And then obviously the Fela connection.
Is Lagos more multicultural than
Lagos is way more. For a start, Lagos has a lot more Yoruba influence. The Yoruba city, historical Yoruba city. It's a port city. It's a port city, so everyone basically has lived in Lagos before moving out, basically. Okay. Then
would you say it's more worldly?
Definitely more worldly. Okay. It's the LA type of New York, right? You know, London thing, Paris, Brussels. It's that kind of thing. Mm. Whereas he grew up in Rivers, Port Harcourt, Burna. Right. So there's this other element of he's not really a Lagos boy. You know, he's also doing things that are much bigger than the continent. You know, so there's this kind of this thing about him that for me appeals to me more. I like Wizkid's music, some of it, not all of it, and I like Burna Boy's music, not all of it. But the thing with musicians is you buy into their story and their philosophy and stuff, and that's why you continue. That's why you like the music. Yeah. And I think with Burna, he has enough meat for me to be like, okay, I want to know more. Yeah. I haven't been to a concert since fucking 50 Cent concert, maybe 10 years ago. And I didn't go. I wasn't the one that got the ticket. Somebody gave me the ticket and I went. I haven't been to a concert for Afrobeats, African music, ever. Other than I went to the shrine, Femi Kuti's shrine in Nigeria last year. Other than that, I don't go to concerts. Okay.
I went to a Wizkid one this year, actually.
You actually went to a concert?
Yeah, the Ends in South London.
You went to a concert?
Yeah, it was an Afrobeats concert.
Okay, yeah,
Wizkid headlined that.
Oh, he's headlining by other artists.
The other artists.
Yeah, that's different. Wow. Can you go and commit to Wizkid alone?
I can.
Oh, okay,
I can.
I don't think I can yet. Okay. I haven't heard that album. Maybe I need to listen to this Trey Songz singing Bese and Chris Brown singing Chineke Me.
Chineke. Probably
African bad girl.
No, it's good. It's good.
I've heard the song.
African bad girl, baby girl, do you? Charlie, it wasn't bad. But anyway.
Oh my Lord.
Can I make this analogy then?
Yeah.
Because again, we're not saying this because we both like Wizkid, we both like Burna Boy. I think right now what Burna Boy is doing is incredible. Yeah. And you're right in terms of it's his history and what he represents that I think makes him. That's why he's at the forefront easily. Mm-hmm. Can I make this analogy though between the two? Mm. Comparing them to, I guess, the American artists, is it right to say that?
But I don't rate the American artists.
No, I agree. But just so for comparison, so people understand what we're trying to say. So if, say, Wizkid is Drake, then maybe Burna Boy is like Nas on steroids.
In this era, you mean?
Yeah, Nas on steroids.
But they're not the same Nas and Drake.
I know, but then my point. That's why I said on steroids.
It's more Kendricky.
More Kendricky, but on steroids. Because the difference between Kendrick and Burna is both Kendrick and Burna have the musicality and integrity of going back to history, trying to say something, have a message, but Burna Boy is still mass appeal.
Burna Boy and Wizkid are coming in at a time when Africa is clearly, socially, economically, spiritually, historically coming out of the darkness. You understand? Like Africa is on the rise in the biggest way possible, right? And it's really being spearheaded by people of our generation. That's the reality, right? People who are 40 and under. Those are the ones spearheading it. So it's the time as well that Burna Boy is, because one thing that's very interesting, Burna Boy performed on Jimmy Kimmel in 2019, and I think in 1992, Majek Fashek, who by the way I haven't heard his music, but you've never heard it. He's another one of the reggae artists who I listen to, African reggae artists I listen to. Now, Majek Fashek, growing up, everybody criticized the hell out of him because he turned to drugs and all that type of stuff. But Majek Fashek had his moment. People thought in the 80s and 90s he would be the next Bob Marley because he came out when Bob Marley died, right? Burna Boy is out now at a time when Africa is in the picture. So even if he doesn't do it, somebody else will do it. You understand? So he's coming at a perfect time, and I think it's not he may not actually be that amazing, but he's is everything that is happening around him. The ancestors are pushing him in a way that that he's going to open doors for many other artists. There's no question Burna Boy is, and I didn't see it until now, Burna Boy is the one who unlocks the gate. Wizkid 3-4 years ago, Joel Egba, you thought he was going to be the guy. Davido, you thought he was going to be the guy. D'banj, like 10 years ago when he signed to Good Music, you thought he was going to be the guy. And none of them penetrated. Burna.
I again, I would argue that Wizkid did to an extent.
No, he did. He maybe even opened the doors for Burna. This is why it's not so much about who, but the one who you say is the catalyst. You know, it's like hip hop music. They said started with all these. I forget the name now.
Oh,
you know, these guys in the late 1970s, but it's not until Run DMC that you really start opening the doors. You know, that's the guy that you see.
Yeah.
So I think this is Burna Boy's moment, and I didn't see it a year ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
I didn't see it.
I mean, to be honest, not that I saw it, but I knew he was going to be. I mean,
really?
And we talked about it with Ye and all the other hits that he had prior to this album. I mean, before I heard the album, the thing is when I heard the album, it literally this whole week I've been playing it. When I get in my car,
the Burna Boy album?
The Burna Boy album. I've been playing it all week. It's been my inspiration all week. Literally, normally at lunch, this is what I do. I go downstairs, have lunch, or maybe even go up to my laptop if I've got work to do.
Yeah.
This week, because of the album, I'll put my headphones on and go have a late and work and walk around just listen to it. Because the shit was hyping me up. I was so inspired by it.
Wow.
That was what I was doing. So I think you're right. It's just a seminal moment for African music.
Yeah.
And for him as well.
And he's key. Because it's not just him. The South African artists had their own moments.
Did they? I'm not really in tune with
what's that group?
South
you know, South African artists have had their moments. Ghana, Sarkodie had his moment. A lot of these guys, and their instant reaction.
Success.
What was their instant reaction to go and collaborate with Americans?
Okay.
And Burna was like,
I'm
just gonna do me.
Now that you mentioned that, so when he was on Breakfast Club and they asked him, so how did your collaboration with David Marley happen? He's like, I don't know. He was like, I just got Beyonce. He was like, I don't know. You have to ask my mom.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like he said, he's not searching it out. It doesn't mean that he's not excited about it. Like David Marley. He said when he found out he was like a child, he was excited because that was one of his idols. But he wasn't searching for it.
Yeah.
And good musicians feel each other. They find each other. And David Marley's no idiot. He heard this guy and probably thought, shit, this guy is the shit. Let me try and do something with it. Not knowing that Burna Boy was also like a huge fan of his.
Yeah.
So it says something about him as a musician, like his integrity as a musician, to think, you know what, I can do it on my own. And that's how you know, actually. Because you were saying before, how you know somebody's a good artist, if they can actually bring out an album, it's just them. At least most of the tracks is just them, and they're still loving it.
Yeah. And I make the allude back to Illmatic. Probably the best hip-hop album. And by the way, I don't like hip-hop music like I used to. But that's the only album I can still listen to. Why? Because it tells you a 20-year-old black kid's story, Queens, and the instrumental is just
simple.
It sounds like the same instrumental all the way through, you know, and that's where real musicality comes from. I think now people are quick to make collaborations. How many people have the balls to do a whole album by themselves? You know, and I think let's just check this album. Actually,
to be honest. Actually,
he's got a few features. Don't get me wrong.
Like, some of the songs I actually don't like on Burna's album are the ones where he featured this one with YG, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
When I heard, I'm like, what is going? This it doesn't mesh. Imagine having some Afrobeat tune on YG, LA,
from Compton or wherever, Crenshaw.
It didn't make any sense. I was like, nah, this sounds weird, man. This sounds weird.
So you've heard the whole album?
I've heard the whole album. So literally,
let's just see the songs.
Okay.
So anybody, look at that, man.
So literally, this
Georgia Smith.
I start off with African Giant. Anybody, Waiting Man go do it. It's kind of alright. Dangote for sure.
Yeah.
The Georgia Smith one, Gun Body, not fast.
Just pause. Georgia Smith.
She's fine.
That girl fine.
Beautiful.
That girl's worrying. Beautiful. It's worrying.
That's why I was quite sad when the song was in black. No, but she's gorgeous though. She is. But I haven't actually heard a lot of her music. I think I need to.
Well, her music doesn't appeal to me.
I'll tell you the songs. My main song is Omo, number 7. That song is
so look at that. You're talking about songs that he has
just on his own.
Yeah.
Just on his own. This one, Secrets, is also good with Jeremiah and this guy called Serrani. This guy's voice is amazing.
So I know Serrani.
You know,
Serrani.
I haven't heard any.
Never know. Yeah, he's West Indian artist, right? That's Serrani.
That song they play in every club at the end of the night. That's it.
You say, I don't wanna play.
I had no idea.
I've never heard that.
You know, until you said those lyrics, I never realized that's what he was saying on the song. You know, there's certain songs where you know the beat, you know what they're, you kind of know what they're saying, but you don't really know what they're saying. That's what it is. So I don't go back. Oh, that's good. He's got a really good voice. So then, Collateral Damage is decent. Another Story kills me.
Yeah.
That's the one that I posted on IG with the beginning. Where
Manifest is Ghanaian?
Of course, no. Of course. He had to collaborate with Manifest, and now he's the only one. Pull Up is a good song. It's a good song. Yeah. That Rhino skits I thought was annoying. Destiny, that was a good track. But obviously we know.
Damian Marley and Angelique Kidjo. What?
Is to be honest, Angelique Kidjo's bit and Damian Marley's bit was good. I didn't kind of like Burna's bit too much because I feel like he was doing more of it was forcing to do the more reggae thing, and I thought just be yourself, man.
Burna.
That's another one. Show and Tell with Future. Again, I heard it, I was like, what? That it didn't work for me anyway.
Yeah, but when Future said, "Oh, come on."
Exactly.
The guy doesn't match on the hip hop beats. The side with YG and Spiritual.
But you know what? For a 19-track album, and to like at least 14, let's say 12 to 14 tracks.
Yeah,
that is impressive to me anyway.
Okay, well, I'm impressed, man.
But check it out, the guy, man.
I'm impressed. He's got a moment. He's in a good moment, and it's just the universe or the ancestors have a way of working. It's just all these things coming full circle. Beyonce's album. His song. She's not on the album. Actually, she's not actually on the song. He's in. No, Beyonce.
No, that's just him. That's just him. Just him. Yeah.
Which is very interesting to me because again, like she recognizes his music. Beyonce is a musician. Beyonce is a musician. And what I like Burna is he uses his voice as the instrument. It's his voice that's the instrument.
Because when you're so unique, like it has to be.
You're not concerned with. He's not the guy that needs to run and be like, oh, let me get like a future beat, mustard beat or something like that, and get this person on track. I don't need it. I'm just gonna make the song work for me. You know, and it's very inspirational. I like the guy.
You know, can I say something? So before I listened to African Giants, I listened to the Lion King album. So before African Giants, I was all over the Lion King album. I was even babysitting my niece who's 6 years.
My woman is all over that album.
And we were jamming to.
I cannot stand it.
Let me finish. So no, this guy, I was loving it. Listening to Black Skin Girl, I was like, this is good for black.
Yeah,
everywhere. I said it's representation in a good way.
Yeah, no,
and obviously she had Shatawale on there, had loads of Nigerian artists. I was like, this is good. The funniest thing happened though. Bear in mind, 2 weeks before this, I was jamming to Lion King, like those tracks, particularly the African ones. I also like the ones where it's just Beyonce and Jay-Z. It's all good. Jamming to it, and then when I heard African Giant, listened to that whole week non-stop. And this afternoon when I was driving, I went back to Lion King, and my initial reaction was, "Oh, it doesn't feel authentic." After listening to African Giant.
Okay.
So you can tell. Yeah. So obviously, I mean, and again, it's not Beyonce's fault or anything.
It's
Beyonce is.
She's clearly inspired by
the Afrobeat. But when you've got the real thing next to it, when you've got the real Afrobeats next to it, it pales. Not to take away from anything from what Beyonce has done.
I'm gonna say something. I think Burna Boy will top the world's charts.
I hope so.
No, I'm not hoping. I think it's gonna happen. You know why I say it? again, it has to do with the moment he's in. All of the things, it's a perfect storm of things happening, right? I think he's going to top the world charts. He's going to be an internationally recognized star because he's incredibly authentic. He's coming into this African enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, this Renaissance period. He's the perfect person for it because there is an element of him being cross-cultural, growing up in the West a little bit, and growing up in Africa, and not just Africa, but in the Creeks region. You know, that's Niger Delta where he grew up. Niger Delta, where they're kidnapping white people.
That's where you roll your
So, that's where he comes from. So there's all of that and the Fela spirit all over him. And I keep bringing that back up because it's serious.
Oh, yeah.
Because Fela really actually was popular outside of Nigeria. And that's the truth about Fela. Fela was popular outside of Nigeria. Not in Nigeria. He was broke most of the time. He was always getting in jail in Nigeria. He was going out to perform in Nigeria. They were always broke. So his situation is I just feel like Burna is going to be a superstar internationally. Whereas Wiz and Davido and all these other guys are massive stars in Africa. Some, relatively known in outside of Africa. I think Burna Boy is going to be a superstar. In the same way that you will look at Usain Bolt. I'm serious. Yeah. Mark my words. Yeah. What's today's date? Just mark my words. I just have this feeling.
2nd of August.
And it's all. And if you had asked me this question 3 months ago, I would be like, what? Yeah. Burna what? The guy who did what's the song that he did again? What's that? His early song? Yeah, like the party. Nah, so but look, Burna Boy, man, props to you. All of them, man, they're trying. Yeah. But all of you are fake. And it's funny. Let's just do we know them? They made a song 10 years ago. We don't know where they are anymore. But saying that though, just go back to the guy who pioneered a lot of stuff. D'banj.
What happened to D'banj?
Well, his son passed away.
Yeah,
you heard about that.
But I'll give him credit because the way he's handled it, the way he's still.
Oh my God! He's still. Well, I mean, you have to move on. What are you gonna do? It's the wife really that I worry for. Because that's just not normal. But D'banj, when was it? 2010 that they went to sign. They did a track with Snoop, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, do you remember?" Then they went to try and sign with good music, and there was that disrespectful video. Do you remember seeing that?
No, I didn't. What happened?
When they were in the studio, there was Pusha T was there, and they were all making fun of his songs.
Really?
They're like, "I'm D'banj." They were like making fun of it.
Really?
Go see that video. You never seen that video?
No.
That was like 2010, I think. 2010. Yeah. So good, almost a decade ago. And D'banj and Don Jazzy tried that, and then came out with Oliver Twist.
I thought that was before Good Music.
Oliver Twist was good music release. That's why Kanye is in the video, and Sean.
I thought it was just
and Big Sean. They're in the video, so they had been signed maybe
big, though.
number 2 on the UK charts, but not big in America. But anyway, the point I'm making is D'banj was getting to that place where he was looking for the international acclaim.
Recognition, yeah.
Whereas, again, this is why I say it's a perfect storm. 10 years later, Burna Boy is just doing him, and the
international acclaim is coming. Yeah.
And that's why I feel it's a perfect storm of things. But props to him because he really took it to the next level. But all right, that's that. So should we move on? Should we talk about AFI? Denzel watched this a few months old now.
Yeah.
But Denzel got his lifetime achievement.
Yeah. So we're
for acting, I guess.
Yeah. So we were talking about this earlier. Mm-hmm. I guess before we get to it, because I don't want. Let's speak about this before we get to his actual achievement award.
Yeah.
So there was this report this article, Lena Waithe apparently was having a go at big black stars that she feels have not done enough to contribute to the black creatives in Hollywood, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is true.
Which is fair enough, which is true, but it kind of irked me a little.
They all haven't, I think.
Fine, but then first of all, it's like, well, you probably wouldn't be where you are without the influences of people like Denzel, or the impact of people like Denzel and Will Smith, right? And also, the reason why you don't know what they're doing. So we know that Denzel was paid for tuition for like a college,
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman and a whole bunch of drama school students to go to college or whatever it was.
Yeah,
he's doing his bits. It's not everybody is going to be like Lena Waithe, where they can write and produce content for Black creatives. Everybody has their path.
Yeah.
Just because they don't do what might benefit you or what you want doesn't mean they're not doing something.
Yeah.
Me, I'm not a creative, or at least I'm not in the creative industry. But even Denzel's impact has affected me. Like we hold him in high regard. We aspire to be the kind of respectful, perfectionist. Like in his craft, he's one of the best. Personally, I aspire to be that kind of level, and he does all these speeches as well at graduations, and not that that even matters. But my point is, you can't assess the impact somebody has based on whether he's paid money to get a film produced or not. And you can't just neglect that because you happen to be doing it at this point in time.
Yeah,
and also don't forget, even in the case of Will Smith, he produces quite a few films. Maybe they're not Black.
Again, ultimately, Will Smith and Denzel are two different.
Yes. Okay. So maybe it's best not to.
In fact, don't even group them together. But there is a collective element. Like, yes, we don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, but they can certainly do more. I say this because.
Anyway, sorry. First of all, before you say anything, it's worth noting that Tony is a filmmaker.
Honora,
my bad.
Give up that slave name.
I know this is what happens when I've known you since we're children.
Exactly.
So Honora is a filmmaker, so he's probably got a lot more insights into this.
No, because
I'm just a film appreciator. So
because
that's my
you see, this is the thing for me, right? Because Denzel and Will Smith. Okay, let's deal with one by one. Will Smith has had power in Hollywood for 20 years.
Yep.
When I say power, I'm not just saying, Will Smith greenlight shit.
Yep.
Right? He used to be at Sony Pictures. I don't know if he still is. When Amy Pascal was the one running it before the South Korea gate bullshit. Will Smith greenlights movies, period. Even before, and this is before After Earth.
He greenlights movies he stars in.
Yeah, but it's not just that.
I'm just trying to make the distinction.
Yeah, but he has power.
Okay.
You're the 20 million. I said you're the $100 million movie man.
Yep.
If you say, you know what, I want to see more Black guys on this film set, because Spike Lee knocked the door open in 1985. Thank you. 1985 with She's Gotta Have It, and his first film insisted on having. By the way, this is all in his books, right? He brought more Black people in the film business than anybody else since the history. I mean, Tyler Perry has done it since, but crew-wise, no one comes close to Spike Lee. He insisted, and he was a filmmaker and an independent filmmaker. It's not, no box office hits or anything like that. Yeah. Will Smith, I think, has been in a position, even if he's not working out of the Hollywood system, even if, and I've said this before on my own YouTube channel, I said, look, if Will Smith, Jamie Foxx, Denzel, just those three, Oprah, throw them in, just make 4 even number, committed to a certain amount of money every year, $5 million each, which is nothing. Let's just keep it funky. $5 million a year, that's $20 million a year. Over a 10-year period, that's $200 million. Even if they're not working in Hollywood, they can establish a situation where young filmmakers, young actors can come and make films for that audience. But I think Will Smith, more so than Denzel, seem more particularly concerned with the universal. Will Smith annoys the hell out of me, by the way. Annoys me so much. Because he's very much about, it's all about the world, I love the ideas of Aladdin, and fuck off. You understand? It's just shut the fuck up. Black people they're getting killed by the cops. You're talking about fucking Aladdin. Like that's the stuff about Will Smith that annoys me. I love the ideas of Karate Kid. Shut the fuck up, man. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's your son. Who are you empowering? Taraji P. Henson. There's not much from him that goes towards the community on a scale that's big enough for the world to appreciate.
Okay, can I just make a point just on that? Because I know you when you start, there's no stopping. So I want to bring the counterpoint.
All right, no problem.
So, is it possible? Obviously, because don't forget, you are a filmmaker.
Yeah.
You know the struggles of trying to even get finance for even the smallest thing. We're not even talking big $1 million budget. We're just talking 10,000. The five
nothing
figure
5-figure films. Yeah.
So you understand the hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that plays a part in your assessment of it? Because technically, if you think about it, because me as an outsider, right?
Of course it will.
Exactly.
Of course it will.
And I think it's the same thing with Lena Waithe. Because as an outsider, first of all, not everybody can be the pioneer in what you want or the area you work in. So the point I'm trying to make is he doesn't have to be putting $5 million aside, using the example that you use, for filmmakers to help young filmmakers make films or create content. He doesn't have to be doing that. He could be doing other things. But again, because you are creative, that is what you're looking at. That is what you're targeting.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. And I think Denzel does like Boys and Girls Club. He commits money to those stuff. But look, the idea is images are the number one source of programming in the planet. 100%. Images, by the way, are more powerful than political policies. Electoral policies. They're more impactful than medicine, religion. Images. And we all understand what images have done, not just to black people, but to black people around the world. Images have been the reason why black people's perception of themselves has been denigrated. Yeah. So they, as film people, producers and actors, know the impact. Yet, their outlook, and again, I'm leaning more towards Will Smith when I say this than Denzel. Their outlook is more on how does the world see this? How can this be a universal idea? That's what I don't like about Will Smith. Denzel, there's been a conscious effort at times. Again, he's done like 4 or 5 Spike Lee movies. Yeah. Spike Lee's an independent filmmaker. He's not a studio guy. He's an independent filmmaker. To do movies like He's Got Game, follow after doing things like Crimson Tide and stuff like that, it tells you a lot about about Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington, in his choices alone, is saying, no, I'm not letting black people look like punks. So in his regard, I can say, you know what? I give him a little bit more of a pass, but it's not enough. Because he understands the situation that we're in. He understands when he got in, and I've studied these guys thoroughly, right? Denzel, when he came into the acting business, he did a play, by the way. He was part of the Negro Ensemble Company. Negro Ensemble Company had people like Morgan Freeman, Sam Jackson, Wesley Snipes. All throughout the decades, these are people that came through. This was a theater company.
It's actually called Negro
Ensemble. But this is the era that they came from.
Yeah.
They were all acting off Broadway in Hollywood, doing plays every week, doing August Wilson plays. This type of play. August Wilson's the one who did what's the movie? Fences, which Denzel directed. All right. Right? Yeah. They were doing these sorts of plays every week off Broadway, honing their craft, right? Studying. They know the impact of bringing another actor through, or another director through, or another playwright through. They know the impact of it. Now, in Denzel's case, yes, he upheld the image of people, black men more than anybody, and to some extent black women, because he I think he had that thing where he insisted that he didn't really want to kiss white women, even though he did it in He Got Game. Doesn't really matter. Okay. Right? But the point is, he maintained a certain standard. So I understand that. But with the amount of success that he's got financially, there is no excuse when you know that, especially in the different periods that we've had with Oscars So White, where they're saying there are no black movies. Yeah. And he's not even like, okay, you know what? Okay. Let me just make one black movie a year.
Actually, you know what? I'll give you... Okay.
You have to at least criticize him a little.
Okay, hold on.
Will Smith?
Because he was quite...
Will Smith
very much against the whole Oscar so White thing. So okay, so hold on.
Well, yeah, and what does he do?
Yeah,
Will Smith for me is the one who I really Jada, all of that, and Jada being from the, I don't even know if it makes a big deal, but Jada apparently was anti-Hollywood when she first started. She's from Baltimore. She's from The Wire, basically.
She's from The
Wire. She was in The Wire growing up. She grew up in The Wire, and then she's went to performing arts school with Pac, which really doesn't really mean anything. But anyway, so Will has this opportunity to be Black Man. 3000. He does a superhero movie called Hancock. Who is a drunkard, right? He goes and does movies like Men in Black and all these. Just listen to the imagery. Men in Black, Hancock, After Earth. So I understand his psychology, but he's basically talking about a parallel universe that exists somewhere else. That's how I was dealing with real life. I'm Malcolm X. I'm Malcolm X. I'm this. I'm that.
All right, so let me be the devil's advocate here, right? Let me just take it back a step. So, first of all, going back to what you're saying, before you mentioned the whole Oscar so White thing.
Yeah.
I take your point.
Yeah.
My counter-argument would be that not everybody is meant to be that pioneer. Or not everybody is going to be
that's a cop-out, man.
No, Tony, listen.
Because...
Okay, so maybe I should provide
my name is not Tony!
Sorry, Onura. Onura, my bad.
Go on.
This guy. So, this is the thing. You've always been that, even from a young age, right? And maybe in some instances it's maybe difficult for you to understand that not everybody is like that. I'm not saying Will Smith.
No, I do understand. Understand.
Okay, good. So I'm not saying that Will Smith.
But what I'm saying is the responsibility. Kofi, listen. There's no excuse. We know what we go through.
Right. Yes.
We know what we are going through, not just in Hollywood, but all around the world. No, you have a responsibility.
Does that mean that if I'm successful at what I do, I have... No, hold on. Let me finish.
Of course you do.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Are you going to ask me whether you...
Let me finish what I'm saying. If you let me finish, you know what I'm saying.
Go for it.
So, you're going to tell me that... You're going to say, not me per se, but somebody bust their ass to get to a certain level.
Yeah.
And because they've worked their ass to get to a certain level, automatically, they have to help everybody else.
Not everybody. But they have to make sure...
Yeah.
That they create some sort of pipeline so that somebody else like them can come through.
Yes, but then
it's not by saying, okay, I'm Will Smith. Therefore, one day somebody will look at me and say they're going to be Will Smith.
No, of course. I'm not saying it's just that. But my point is, they might be doing that, but it's just not in the way that you have envisioned it. That's my only counter argument.
No.
Listen, yes, they understand the power of movies, expand the impact it has. For all you know, and again, I'm just being the devil's advocate here. Remember that I don't agree with this.
Don't be the devil.
No, because
the devil is bad in the Bible.
No, but hold on. The point of the matter is, we are looking at this from the lens of them creating a pipeline for other creatives, right?
Okay, my question.
Right, hold on. That's the lens we're looking at it from. What if they're doing something else?
What
is benefiting
other
people?
What can they do?
But that's not for you to say.
Listen, if they're committing millions towards homelessness in Black communities and I don't know about it, my bad. Fine. Yeah. I don't think they are. Okay. But my bad if that's the case. And publicly will be listening.
Yes, because
if you're listening.
Will Spencer's Friday nights listening to random first time podcast.
But if they also understand, because they work in Hollywood, they also understand the power of images. Again, I'm going to reiterate this. There's nothing more powerful than images on this planet. And the coming together of music, video, audio, everything together in film, there's nothing more powerful. We know. Just go and look at Oxfam commercials of Black kids. That's people's perception of the whole continent.
Yep.
1 billion people. Right? So they know the impact. They're not stupid. These are 50, 60-year-old men. They know the impact. 50, 60 so how they feel, it's okay. And this is why I have the biggest problem. Will Smith is like, I want to be the number one actor in Hollywood. Fine, great ambition as a black man, a light-skinned black man. Let's just point that out. I'm great ambition as a black man, right?
Yeah.
I want to be the number one actor. Okay. So does that mean you don't want another black guy to top you? Yes.
I don't think so.
Oh my God! That's but
just because someone's ambitious to be number one doesn't mean that their purpose is to stop other black people from getting.
I want to race. I want to race you.
Yes.
I want to race you. I want to be number one.
Yes, that means you want to be number one.
Does that mean I want?
Yes, you want to beat me. But doesn't mean that you are intentionally trying to bring me down.
No, it means. Sorry, okay. It means that he's saying to himself, as long as I'm number one, everybody else. Denzel can do flights. What's the movie? It's flights. He can do flights.
Upside down.
The upside down plane. Black Panther. They can do Black Panther. 100 black people in the movie. That's cool. I want to be the only black guy in my movie.
I don't think that's what. No, I don't think that's what you mean.
But aesthetically,
look
at the optics of the thing.
Okay, I'll tell you.
That's the reality of.
No, it's not because that means that. My
brother,
hold on.
Let's just go through filmography of Will Smith.
What? So you're saying there's no other?
Tell me how many black people. Tell me how many other dominant black males are in his movies. Let's just go.
Hold on.
Aladdin.
Before we do,
I'm the genie, motherfucker. I'm the genie.
Hold on.
Collateral Beauty. He got that Australian girl.
Which Australian girl?
I don't know what her name is again. The Australian girl.
No, you're thinking of Focus.
Oh, Focus. My bad. Focus. That chick bad. Suicide Squad. I'm the only black guy.
No. Hold on.
Concussion. Let me be Nigerian for that matter.
Come on. You're gonna blame Will Smith for Hollywood's typecasting or racial?
You mean Will Smith doesn't have the power to cast?
No.
Are you for real?
I'm not saying he doesn't. No, that's not what I said. Oh,
you make 100 mil. Okay, forget that. Let's go. When did he start blowing? After Earth. So let's go to Men in Black.
No, so he started blowing after.
No. I mean when he started flopping. So after Earth, yeah. Men in Black. So 2012 and before. Men in Black, 7 pounds. Hancock. I Am Legend. Hancock. Who is his love interest, by the way?
It's a white lady.
What's her name? Australian white girl, right?
Charlize Theron, yeah.
I Am Legend. Who's his love interest?
There's no love interest.
Well, kind of the white.
No, she wasn't.
Latino girl. She's the only one in the movie.
The lead,
it's
but doesn't mean that. But doesn't mean that.
It's him and his dog.
So his
Pursuit of Happiness.
Who?
Pursuit of Happiness. Who's his son?
No.
Hitch. Wait, Hitch. Eva,
I thought Hitch was good because it brought Eva.
We know
Mendes.
It doesn't stop the quality of the movie.
No. My point is, at least Eva Mendes.
This guy's like, I'm gonna be the only nigga.
No. I don't think that was his intention.
Let's just keep going. So far, you haven't
So far, you haven't proven me wrong. Stop. Hold on.
I Robot.
Hold on.
In a land of robots, I'm the only nigga. Fuck you, man. Bad Boys 2. How many years before the Bad Boys 2 comes out?
2 niggas in that. You see that?
Bad Boys 2, 2003.
Hold on. Let's put this in context, right? So you're saying that he wants to be the only nigga, only guy.
He wants to be the top dog.
Okay, first of all, he does want to be the top dog. This was during an era where this was during the movie star era, right? Yeah. Now there are very few movie stars. There's like Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Cruise, maybe Will Smith even, and Denzel, those type of players. But back then it was all about the movie star era where if this guy is in your film, it's probably going to open well. But
he also has the power to cast.
Hold on. Let me finish now.
Because I say this because I'm gonna go because the
Tony, you have to let me finish. No, let me finish.
Sorry. My name is not Tony, by the way.
Sorry. This guy, you need to
get that clear.
I promise by the second podcast I'll be calling him his real name.
Confirm that. All right, go on.
So this was during the era where opening big in the box office in the first weekend was all about.
Yes.
That never made sense to me, by the way. But then we'll come to that.
Okay.
So, for him, with his aim of being the number one movie star in the world, his thing was always mass appeal. Mm-hmm. And the one way to almost try and guarantee that, or at least mitigate the risk, is being the nigga, he has to have a white person as the female lead, or someone. That's why I think with Pitch, he did well by getting a South American. Was she from Puerto Rico?
This guy, she's a white girl.
Mendes. No, Eva Mendes.
This guy, Kofi.
Eva Mendes is not. If you do that, then that's almost
Kofi. Kofi.
Eva Mendes is not white.
Kofi.
Eva Mendes is not white.
She shows up in Accra, Ghana now.
Oh, they could behave.
No, I'm asking you. What's the word that you guys use for white people?
Obroni. Yeah, they will call him Obroni, but they'll be wrong. But they'll be wrong.
How would they call it wrong?
Because this film is not even marketed for
Ghanaians. Okay, now let's just go socially.
For the West.
If you go to Spain,
yes.
What are people in Spain? What are they? White?
Yes.
In Spain, do people look like Eva whatever?
They're white, yes.
Do they look like Eva? Is it possible that Eva Mendes lives in Spain and is from Spain?
Yes, but you know her look is different from a
period.
There's different looks in Spain. What are you talking about?
Now I'm gonna go into my point. Okay. You see, the thing with Will Smith, I'm not knocking your point that Will Smith, of course, he'll have a direct impact on some black kid. But it's different between saying, look at me and aspire to be me, and saying, you know what, the door is open. I've left the door open. I'm holding it to quickly come. It's the difference.
But how do you know he's not doing that?
My guy, let me tell you something. So look, Denzel. Denzel's last movie was Equalizer 2.
I wish you guys could see Tony's expressions.
Denzel's last movie was Equalizer 2. Who's the director?
Antoine Fuqua.
Roman J. Israel, Esquire.
Yep.
His love interest. That evil girl. British mixed race girl. What's her name again?
The one in
She used to be married to Jeffrey Wright. Anyway, English girl. She played Martin Luther King's wife in Selma. Okay. Previous to that, what do you do? Fences. Who is its love interest? Okay, don't worry, don't answer. I don't need your answer. Magnificent Seven. Okay, no problem. Let me do a stupid popcorn film. Equalizer prior to that. Who is the director? Okay. Previous to that, Two Guns. Okay, another popcorn with Mark Wahlberg. Fuck you.
That's a good film.
Flight. Safe House. Unstoppable. Book of Eli. Taking off Pelham. No problem. It's okay. But let's go back. Great debate. I'm going to put an Oscar winner right next to me.
Who was Oscar winner in that?
Forrest Whitaker.
Okay.
American Gangster.
Ooh.
Not only am I going to introduce Idris Elba to this world,
and
I'm going to stick Chiwetel.
My man Chewy.
Who has been my number 2.
My man Chewy.
My number 2 before this.
The man that speaks like he was born and bred in Britain. But I love him though. Chewy, man.
Deja Vu is his love interest. Paula Patton.
No, that was
Eva
Mendes.
Deja Vu. Sure? Paula Patton. Eva Mendes scared. No, that was you're thinking about
There's a film that
I'll come to it in a minute.
Okay.
Inside Man.
That's a brilliant film.
Inside Man.
Helen Hunt.
Black woman is his wife, but also Chiwetel is his number 2.
True.
Manchurian Candidate. Okay, it's that little white girl who's always causing trouble. Fine. Sorry, no, that's Man on Fire. Excuse me. Out of Time is the one with Eva Mendes. Right. Antoine Fisher. I'm going to direct it. I'm going to star in it. And I'm going to put an unknown black actor.
Luke, whatever, yeah.
Training Day, who directed it.
Again, you assume that he had to say that, but okay.
Oh, my brother.
Okay.
It's Denzel goes and works in it. First time director? Forget that. Remember the Titans.
That was Antoine Fuqua's first film. It wasn't his first.
It's his first feature film.
No.
Training Day, yeah.
Go to him. That's Training not Day. Possible.
Antoine Fuqua is his first feature film.
Click Antoine Fuqua, let's see.
It's his first feature film. His first feature film. Oh, no, my bad. Okay, no, he did Replacement Killers and Bait.
Mate, no. First film that wins the actor an Oscar. That's like, if that was true, I wish it was.
His Bait was with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Okay, I stand corrected.
For his first film,
I stand corrected. But let's just quickly go back. Remember the Titans. I mean, they put Avon Barksdale and Remember the Titans. The Hurricane. The Bone Collector, okay, The Siege, He Got Game. I mean, what we're establishing here...
Go to Will Smith's one, please. Listen.
What we're establishing here is a man who has made the choice to, even if it's not, I'm going to keep this door open myself. Yeah. I'm going to be like, I'm going to insist.
All right, let's do the same thing with Will Smith.
Okay, but we did it earlier already. Let's go before he bombed, before After Earth. Yes. Because Will Smith, the only time he puts another black man in the movie is if it's 10 years that's passed or it's his son.
Okay, let's see.
Men in Black 3. I don't even know if it's a black human. I don't even know if there's anybody black in the movie. It's not even. He put 2 old white guys. Tommy Lee.
No, come on. This was a
£7.
franchise film.
Okay, I give you £7.
Yeah, he put Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson.
Okay. Which is the same as Eva Mendes.
But that movie is. If you don't slit your wrist by the end of watching that movie,
it's supposed to be a sad film.
Fine. Oh, great.
Okay. But hold on.
Let's just do Precious.
Let's
Hancock.
Wait, hold on.
Hancock.
Stop. Wait,
you are a black homeless superhero.
Come on, that was the premise of the film. Hold on. First of all, Men in Black, right? That was a franchise film.
Are you defending this guy?
I'm not defending him. I'm just.
You mean
they
can't insist? They don't Men in Black that came out 2 days ago or a few days ago. The black girl, the girl that was banging Apollo Creed's son.
Not in real life.
They whatever. They just did with her. They didn't have to put Will Smith in it too. And you mean to tell me he can't make that choice?
Okay,
in the
let's
continue.
So we went to
Hancock,
£7. He's got
Hancock. Hancock, by the way, is like 500 mil at the box office. £7 like 200 mil at the box office, something like that. I Am Legend. First of all, it's you and your dog. Everybody else is a zombie. The next time you see human beings, it's a white woman and her son.
No, white woman.
Whatever, she's Brazilian. It's the chick from City of God. She's white.
Yes,
I beg. Pursuit of Happiness. I'm not going to put a black man. I'll put Tandy Newton.
Wasn't the wife? The wife was black.
Tandy Newton as the wife who abandons her child. Think of the aesthetic, my brother.
This guy. Not
my brother.
So your
images are everything.
So that means
images are everything.
Well, hold on. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are black people both good and bad? Are there good black people, bad black people?
Are you asking me that question?
Exactly. So what's your problem? What's your problem with this?
Okay. Then why is it that historically in movies, when you have to do movies where it's about a black story, an African story, there must be a white person who goes and pacifies those situations. It's images, my brother.
I get it.
So let's go back.
It's not to. You can't then say
no,
that you can never
when you have the power to say in I Am Legend.
Okay.
It's already a Will Smith film. We know you're black. It's not going to deter from the film by putting the only human being who comes for the last 20 minutes of the movie to be black.
But again,
it's not going to hurt you.
Hold on.
It's not going to hurt you.
Hold on. Yes.
How many people go and write down and say, "Oh, I hated the ending"?
My guy, I agree with you on this. But again, listen. Try and see the other point.
I'm not seeing.
I know you're not. I know you're not. But I have to make the point.
Anyway, I know there is another point.
The point I'm trying to make is back then, all these people were interested in, right, was box office success in the first weekend.
Will Smith may not have the same box office as Denzel, but Denzel is also a box office star. Look at his choices. Yes. Should we go over them again?
That's why they're two
Man on Fire.
That's why they're two different individuals.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. One makes the choice,
but
hold on.
Hold on. With all due respect, does Will Smith have the acting chops of Denzel?
It's got nothing to do with acting.
No, I know, but hold on. No. When you've got that,
Vin Diesel,
all of his films
and makes movies about being a car, and in all his movies,
about being a car.
In all his movies, you will at least see Ludacris, Tyrese. If you don't see, time out. This era, that's all that matters. This era,
but that's a franchise.
Tyrese,
that's
my brother. After the second one, nothing was set as a franchise.
Yes, he didn't return.
Because he didn't come back.
When he came back,
but what did they keep doing?
What they did.
Part 2, John Singleton directed. Yeah. Who did he put in the movie? I think he put Ja Rule, or third one they put Bow Wow. Yeah. When Vin Diesel comes back, he insists Tyrese and Ludacris.
Did he insist? I don't know.
You mean to tell me, just looking at the first 3 and how they were all recast, why is it that in the 4th to the 95th film, I don't know how many they made since, you still see Tyrese and Ludacris? It's very important you understand aesthetics of images. I'm going through the same problem right now. I'm you know the movie I'm making, right? Yeah. I'm constantly in my mind thinking, my God, if I put these 2 light-skinned people as the lead, what image am I sending? And you have to be very mindful about things like this. Yeah. Hollywood is not just, let's just put this together and see what happens. It's very calculated. And especially when you're casting, right? When you're going into the casting process, it's the most crucial process. Because you look at a movie like Star Wars, they didn't have any need to put John Boyega. It doesn't make a difference. This whole new Star Wars franchise has nothing to do with the actors. It's all about the franchise. So whoever you put in it, it hits. Fuck it. Like, it's going to hit. So they made a conscious choice to put a black person there. Right? Good for them, bad for them, whatever. But in the era of Will and Denzel, where you are the guy, where it's really going to make no difference to the story of the film, you have power to make choices, and you didn't. I'm sorry. Go and look at Beverly Hills Cop 2 and 3. Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh,
Eddie Murphy, by the way, Eddie Murphy is the #1 box office star of the 80s. Yeah. Don't forget that too. Of the 80s.
Yeah. No, that one, yeah.
He said, fuck you in 1980. I'm going to put Chris Rock, Damon Wayans, I'm trying to remember who else.
No. Literally every comedian you can
I'm going to
think
put Sam Jackson. I'm going to put everybody.
You're right.
In the 1980s.
That,
And Will Smith, coming off Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, says, you know what, Jazz, let me just put you in I Am Legend somewhere. You just be playing music. Carter, come and dance in Hancock for me for 5 minutes.
Can you imagine I Am Legend with Jazzy Jeff in the background?
You know they're playing Bob Marley at the end. Can they play Summertime? You understand what I'm saying?
Well, Summertime is a zombie film where they've killed everybody. Summer.
Who knows? You understand what I'm saying? You have power.
Okay. All right. Okay.
If Eddie can do it in the 80s,
I take your point. I was trying to be the devil's advocate, but I take your
point. No, don't be the devil. So look, if you're comparing Denzel and Will, one steps out a little bit further than the other, but they both need to do it. And it's not just those two. Jamie. Okay, yeah, Jamie might look at it like, oh, I'm part of the Hollywood system, but you got enough money to make enough films. You got enough money.
You see,
you got enough money.
Okay, so my only concern is
go for it.
And again, just to stress this point, I was only being a devil's advocate here. I get it. We all have responsibilities and we have to play our part in these sort of things. And they should.
It's not a level playing field. It's not a level playing field between black and white. So you can't just assume.
Yeah, that's why you have to do your bit. Mm-hmm. I get it. But the thing that irks me the most is when people start to dictate what you should do with whatever resources you have. Because nobody knows what you're going through. All they're thinking is because you're but hold on. But Tony, at least you have to accept that small bit. Yeah. To say that somebody should put 5 million, yes, to you, because you read in the paper that this guy's making 20 million.
Okay. I understand.
My point is,
I understand what you're saying.
Let's not. I get it. He does have a responsibility.
But
he can hire, even if it's just stage crew, even if it's just the third, best friend of the side character.
Yeah.
Yes, I get the responsibility he has. However, what I don't appreciate personally is people saying that because these guys on this level, he has to put this kind of money. Well, shut the fuck up. Because guess what? Somebody is looking at you saying, okay, looking up at you saying, okay. So you say whatever your situation is, assuming that somebody below you is thinking, this guy's got his house in London, he's got his 3 kids, he must be doing well. How is he not helping X, Y, Z? But they don't know your situation.
Of course. Yeah, but then that's very, very different to being an image that's known worldwide. It's like, okay, I'm Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Everyone in the world knows Michael Jackson.
Yes.
And then saying, okay,
everybody
Michael
knows
Jackson.
That he was also mostly broke.
And nobody knows that for a fact.
Well,
there's no way.
Not for a fact. Exactly.
Things like that.
We can never know for a fact. But the point is, a lot of his income, at least from what I've read, was based on him leveraging like his masters and shit like that.
If we know, if it's a fact that he owns the Beatles catalog, he's never been broke in his life. Let's just leave it. But we don't know.
But we don't know.
Either way, the point is,
either way, he doesn't stop people from making
powerful enough to have an image where at least he can dictate what he wants his image to look like. You don't do remember the time. You don't do remember the time video if you don't have power.
He did what? Even now, Michael Jackson, who went white.
Thank you!
Who literally went white.
Again, it's highlighting the point I'm making.
All right, okay.
He makes a choice. Not only to say, fuck you, I'm going to put black people. He's going to say, I'm going to rewrite your own history of Egypt and show black people, rightful people, as the leaders of Egypt. Do you know how powerful just that video was in terms of history? Maybe people didn't take it seriously after that because there's no follow-through. But imagery is everything. He understands that. That's why he will go and do. Is it bad? Which one's the main tune? Where it was the Thriller. Yeah. His love interest in it was a black girl. Yeah. This is 1984. He doesn't have to do that. He could have put the girl from Fame or whatever bloody movie was. He didn't do that. Everything is the power of images. Once you understand that, you cannot just start willy-nilly. Isn't it interesting? After Vivica Fox in the Aliens Independence Day, it's very rare. I think he quickly did in Enemy of States where he had Regina King.
Yeah, that's a good film.
Very good film, right? But after that, really, he just said, you know what? I'll take some. He probably Ali bombed at the box office. I'll never have two black women in my movie. Never. He probably said that one, he had no choice.
He had no choice. He had to go with it because it's a biography.
Yeah,
you can't cast a white person in Ali's.
He said, if I'm going to do another movie, my biopic, it'll be my son. Find a way to put my son in this movie. I rather have my son who's never acted before. You know, these are things about Will Smith that you have to criticize him a little bit more.
No, I get you.
All right, cool.
I think do your bit. Do your bit.
Criticize, man. Of course, they need to be. So what? Just because they're Denzel and Will Smith and they've become they've won Oscars and all that type of stuff, they shouldn't be criticized.
Because again, like, if you're going to criticize, know what the person is doing.
My brother,
know what the person is doing.
Okay, no.
Now, okay, so even right now, when I told you this, you did one thing. You thought, okay, let me think about this. Let me split Will Smith and Denzel, because Denzel is doing other things that is also benefiting.
That's not why. Yeah.
Or in his roles,
of his choices.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the problem is, what she's doing, in my view, is just bunching everybody together purely because she's, in this moment, let's not forget, in this moment, doing something that maybe they have not overtly done or shown to be
But she's criticizing, and she's criticizing from a point of view of, from a position of success. It's not like this girl is just some... Nobody knows her.
No, I know.
She's already got an Emmy, you said?
But again, the difference is she is working in now. Now, even Hollywood studios are trying their best to be, to diversify. So
how did they get there?
This is my point. They got there because of... Listen, no, not because of Will Smith. I'm not saying because of Will Smith.
Thank you. I hope
but think about all the other things that people have done. People like Spike Lee, people like Denzel. Again, what happens is, it's like right now, imagine if, as we're talking about Burna, right? So Burna is basically like going to push the gates open for lots of people to come through. But there's no way Burna will sit there and start to criticize Wizkid or D'banj, or because they did what they could. No, but because the point is, they did what they could during their time. But there's a different eras for everything. Don't forget. Hold on. Tony, let me finish. There was a time.
My name.
No, Tony. Oh, sorry.
My name is my name.
I hope you're going to edit this shit out.
Nah, keep going.
No, you have to edit it. Okay. So no, you have to remember, there was a time where, right, we fancied light-skinned girls more than black-skinned.
Who the hell are you talking about? Like, where did that happen?
Oh, what? You're going to deny this now?
I'll tell you this.
This guy.
All the girls I ever in my life. I know.
Okay, fine.
All the girls I ever wanted in my life that turned me down were dark.
Okay.
All of them.
But did you...
All the girls I really wanted turned me down.
Okay. Right. Okay. So maybe you are the
ones were easy.
You're the one.
What can I say? Easy.
Maybe you're the only one that was,
You like light-skinned girls?
Listen, everybody did at some point.
Wait, let's be specific. Light-skinned black girls or white girls?
Light-skinned black girls. Well, okay. Maybe
you liked white-skinned.
Listen. We lived in. I know
the girls you were with.
That's not to say no.
As younger girls.
No, come on. That's not to say that I didn't like black girls. Too. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But my point is, what you have to understand is, we all go through. There are phases in life, right? There are certain things that are deemed acceptable that people have to not live by, but then you try and push those boundaries slowly, right? In the same way you were saying, Burna Boy, there was a mixture of things, perfect storm of things that's happened that's propelled him to this level. Had he come 5 years ago, he probably wouldn't hit this level because exactly. And it's the same thing with Lena Waithe. She's gone to a point where it's a perfect storm of things. Hollywood is trying to be more diverse, blah blah blah. So it's worked out. what you cannot then do is because you're there, it's starting to say that, oh, this person should have done better. You don't know what the fuck the person was going through back in those days. Not to take away from the fact that. I get that. Oh, no, not to take away from the fact that they should have done more. I agree. However, understand that, okay, to get to the level you are at, whether you want to admit it or not, whether Will Smith put a Hispanic girl, a white girl next to it, in some small way, he played his part, right? And that's what we can do. We can play our part. Yes, you can argue that they should have done better. Fine. But that's not really an objective thing. It's purely it's subjective.
I think it's very important in these sorts of conversations to say which point of view are you speaking for. If you're speaking for a Black Pan-African, wanting Black people to it's very important to.
I am.
If you're speaking from a purely worldly perspective, then 100% you're correct. If you're talking from a Black point of view,
even all I'm trying to do
is 100% the wrong way to
fine. All I'm doing is trying to provide it with some context, right?
That's
all I'm trying to do. I'm not saying that
Sidney Poitier.
I personally think. Okay, go
Sidney Poitier won the Oscar for Lilies in the fucking whatever it's called field. Yeah. In 1962.
And when was the next time somebody else won the?
Forget the Oscars. Oscars are chosen by predominantly white. I don't even look at Oscars as anything that's important. Okay. He won an Oscar for Lilies of the Field. Now, yes, he was well known in the sense that he was the one Black guy you saw in the 1960s that was allowed to kiss a white woman, which he did in what's the name of the movie? Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Even though they weren't allowed to show the scene. He's the one guy who was allowed to slap another white man, Rod Steiger, in the heat of the night. He's the only Black man. So, in terms of the aesthetic, he's a tough Black guy. But in his personal life, I think all his children are with the white woman. He dumped the Black woman almost immediately. So you could tell it affected him psychologically. Do you understand? Till today, he's still married. He's like 90. No, maybe I'm exaggerating. 87 or something like that. Where it mattered, he chose to go a different route. You see, in Sidney Poitier's time, the only roles he could do in Hollywood, he had to have, a predominantly white cast. So his position in all the movies that he played was one of, okay, I'm not going to be subservient to the white person. I'm going to stand my own. In that regard, you give him props. Hattie McDaniel with excuse me, Gone with the Wind. I don't know. With Gone with the Wind, was subservient, but she was still talking back to Clark Gable and whatever, Vivian Leigh. With Will Smith, in the 1990s and the 2000s, early 2000s, going into 2010s, he didn't have the same restrictions as Sidney Poitier. And also, it wasn't even a question of just the restrictions. He was financially in a position where, for a good decade, no one was earning as much as Will Smith. So, whether or not we don't know what his money looked like or not.
Because don't forget, when he was on Fresh Prince, he was a millionaire, but he was broke.
No, when I say earning, I don't mean him personally. I mean what the films do at the box office. Box office mojo doesn't lie. So even if he was collecting $10K per movie, which would be quite funny, nonsense, right? He had the power, like Eddie in the 80s.
Oh, that one I agree. That one I can't defend.
10 or 20 years earlier, to say, put this guy in a cameo role.
Yeah.
Let me build him up. How many comedians came out of the Eddie Murphy school?
But do you think it's also...
How many?
Oh, I mean, I can Google
How many?
Look,
let's just say Game & Wayans,
every
Chris
comedian
Rock,
we know now.
Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Let's not forget.
The great mighty Dave Chappelle.
Sam Jackson. Cuba Gooding Jr. had an extra role in Coming to America.
Did he?
Yeah, he was getting his haircut. Arsenio Hall went on and had one of the biggest talk shows of the 90s.
You know, I listened to a podcast with David Wayne. So he used to talk about how back in the day, the 80s, when Eddie was literally
the guy.
Raw. He was like...
Who goes and directs Raw as well, by the way? Who directed the Raw? Robert Townsend.
Is it?
Robert Townsend made a low-budget movie called... I forget the name of the movie. Low-budget movie he made with credit cards. And he gives him the chance to direct. Do you know... Read Spike Lee's first book. Read Spike Lee's first book. Spike Lee talks about how she's gonna have a movie he made for no money. When it's success, Eddie Murphy invites him to his house party and said, I want you to direct a movie for me. Spike turned it down. Eddie was all about it. Yeah. Michael Jordan, even, who they criticize right now about not being black enough, he made the choice with Spike Lee, unknown independent director, said, do all my commercials. You have the power when you're the guy.
Like you said, Jordan is now being criticized because people don't know.
Forget it. I don't really care. I don't really care about this. Is a Jordan conversation.
The point I'm trying to make is, in the same way that, because right now what you said about Spike Lee directing Jordan's, right? I didn't know what Jordan was doing in the back. So when I hear the story about Jordan not doing enough,
it's before our era when these commercials were out. But all the earlier Jordans with Spike Lee directed.
My point is, with the Lena Waithe comment, she's not taking into consideration whatever these guys might be doing in the background that we may not be aware of.
Because she understands that it's about the aesthetic of film and entertainment. It's not about, if I'm, at the end of the day, every black person is supporting other black people somehow, one way or another.
Okay, so unless you're doing a good film, that means
it's about how do you support the masses? The way you support
the masses. What makes you think what? So because you do it through film, that means that's the best. Tell me which only way.
Okay, Will Smith has produced so many movies where he's not been in it. No, not so many. A few movies where he's not been in. Lakeview Terrace, Samuel L. Jackson. Okay. He's a bad guy.
That's something.
He's a bad guy. Let's just not forget. Okay. He did Karate Kid, and he put his son in there. Right? Yeah. Will Smith is only interested in himself and his family. Clearly. It's not about whether or not he can even go and pay for 900,000 students to go to school, black kids to go to school.
And that wouldn't matter to you?
Because he understands that he's in a place where aesthetically, the optics of film is something which is so hard for black people to penetrate. Always has been. Always has been. Since the days of Step and Fetch It.
Okay. Can I list a few things that Will Smith has?
Yeah.
So he produced Annie. The 2014,
with that little black girl.
With the little black girl as Annie.
And Jamie Foxx.
Already
established Jamie Foxx and that little black girl. What the hell is that?
I'm sorry. Prior to him doing that, had there ever been a thought of Annie being a black girl?
I am 100% sure. Okay. The Annie choice wasn't him. You know why? Because that girl was nominated for an Oscar at 10 years old, 2 years before.
So even when he does
do your research.
Okay, so even when he does something, it's because
it's not the same as saying I'm gonna take some raw black script and do something.
All right, let's continue down this list. So he did the Queen Latifah show.
Queen Latifah was Queen Latifah before him.
But he produced Queen Latifah show.
Oh please! What he produced. He did all of us. Where he put Dwayne Martin, his best friend, in the movie,
but was still
in the TV show. Oh my God! He's only interested in himself and his family and his immediate friend. Dwayne Martin is his best friend.
What about the Secret Life of Bees?
Secret Life with Queen Latifah again?
Yes.
Alicia Keys. My brother.
This guy.
We're talking about keeping the door open. We just talked about Denzel, right?
ATL.
We just talked about ATL.
Yes.
With TIP. TIP. Are you for real? Are you for real?
Nigga, behave yourself.
Please.
Come on. There were other people in that. It had the fine.
My brother.
The
Lauren London.
The gorgeous.
Oh, please.
Anyway, his husband.
Will has no excuses. Denzel, maybe you just give him the respect of saying, you know what? Let me just give you small props.
There's a film called 2003.
Called Ride or Die.
Ride or Die with Dwayne Martin and Vivica Fox. That film must have been terrible, bro.
Wow. In what year?
2003.
Oh wow!
He actually produced the Eddie Murphy film Showtime with De Niro and
that did well.
Eddie Murphy.
That did really well. The one that starts.
To be honest, I think if we're going to talk about this, then I think what we need to do is give Eddie Murphy props, man, because him, like, even till this day. Bearing in mind, he's not done a film in years. Like, if you talk to anybody in the comedy world, like the way they revere Eddie Murphy.
But that's even reverence for somebody is different because you look at Will Smith, but like, oh my god, what he did was amazing. I remember The Rock saying in an interview saying that he went into his agents and he's like, I want Will Smith's career, but times 10. You know, you respect people for what they've achieved. It's different to saying, okay, what you've achieved is great, but what you did for me is bigger. Because I forgot, even with the Eddie Murphy thing, I forgot to even talk about Martin Lawrence. You see, Spike Lee had no power whatsoever, but insisted on his crew being all black. He put Martin Lawrence in his first film. He put Halle Berry in her first film. Both of them acted for the first time on his films. He had no business. Robbie Reed, Ruth Carter, who won the Oscar for Black Panther, had never done a movie before in her life. Ruth Carter, costume director, costume designer, never done a movie in her life until he put her in School Days. Read the book. I've got all his books, the diaries when they were about to be fired all the time because these girls had no experience. They had less experience than their assistants. You have power, my brother, when you're the one in charge. When you're the one with the ball, as they say. You know, it's like last minute, Riyad Mahrez has a free kick. Do you have the balls to take the shot and score and get your team into the final? Or do you say, you know what, let me give it to somebody else because I haven't got the confidence? At the end of the day, Will Smith has had the ball for 20 years. And every single time, chose not to take the free kick. Denzel, and Denzel, maybe once in a while, he'll be like, you know what, rather than take the free kick, let me go and play in the B League with my people. You know? That's what Denzel did, because he would go and direct movies like Great Debaters, put all black cast. I'm going to carry this film. I'm going to be in it. I'm going to do Antoine Teresa. I'm going to do Fences. I'm going to carry this type of movies. I'm going to try my best. Will? Like, I'm the box office star and I'm not doing anything on the side. Even if Will decided, you know what, let me just go and establish like a little side thing with Tyler Perry. Let me just do a thing with Tyler Perry. He's like, nah. And then even when Tyler Perry comes out with his own example of saying, you know what, I do all these black movies. Fine, they're black church movies, but look how many black people he employs on camera. And he's the I think the wealthiest person in Hollywood or whatever. How is it that you are still doing Aladdin?
One of the reasons why we've been arguing for 15 plus years. Probably because I learned so much. This is another thing about Onura, by the way. You actually come with facts, which is very annoying. It's not very nice when you argue with facts. But you know your shit. You know, Onura is an historian as well.
Yes.
Which is the two best attributes for a person, but worst attributes for somebody who's trying to debate them. When it comes to film. He's a filmmaker and a historian. So he's not only going to tell you about the film, he's also going to give you the history about it. And so I take that. I can't really argue against that. So I get it. I get that you have to be responsible for.
You have to.
I get that.
We've been in a position where they made a movie in the 1920s called Birth of a Nation, where it was basically a recruitment movie, which was showed at the U.S. at the White House for the president. And it was basically a recruitment movie for the KKK, because the KKK was on the decline at the time. Have you ever seen the film? Do you know even up until at least the last 10 years ago, they were still showing it in film schools around the world, even in the UK.
Erin watched that when she was doing a film.
There you go.
Yeah. She told me about
what does that tell you about images?
Because we're still talking about how, what's a seminal film or what's a vital film. I'm like,
what does that tell you about images? These people understand. Everybody in the world.
Explain what's Birth of a Nation is?
Birth of a Nation is basically, in a nutshell, it's a film about. It's set in a rural American modern, I suppose, 1920s America. I think it was made in 1919. I think it came out in 1920s, and it was basically about what would happen if black people at the time. This is Jim Crow America.
1915. You're right.
Right, Jim Crow America. Were let loose, they would go and start, the fake myth about black people that they would go and start raping white women, and so that galvanized the white people to go and take up arms effectively against the black people. Basically, a recruitment tool for the KKK, and they say KKK membership spiked up, rose up after that, and this is shown in the White House for the president. So if this is a movie which people are looking at and saying, "Oh my God, this is amazing. This is the greatest movie of the last 100 years."
Still being shown in film schools.
Then what does that tell you about images?
When were we in uni?
At least 15 years ago.
Yeah.
15 years ago. And here we are in a position where we have two of the 5 most bankable stars in the world, even now as older men. And one of them chooses not to say, "Okay, no, I'm just going to stick a few more black people in this movie." You have a problem. You have a big problem. And I think with the new generation coming, it's very different for them. You see, Ryan Coogler blew up off a movie which was produced by Forrest Whitaker. And what's the lady's name? The lady who won a movie, Oscar for The Help. For The Help, or one of those movies, the shorter woman, round woman.
Yeah.
Not Viola, the other one. Anyway,
yeah, I know you're talking
those women, they produced the movie together, and the movie was a success, and this kid managed to get through the Hollywood doors, right? And he just so happened to be in this moment where black people are on the rise. So with the generation now, my Octavia Spencer, yeah. My frustration with the generation now is not so much what they're doing that's black, because there's a lot of black stuff, because black stuff is popular now, and there's this whole, whether you call it inclusivity or diversity, whatever you want to call it, that whole black thing now is just about, it's a thing of the moment. It's the choices of projects you're making. And for me now, when I look at Ava DuVernay, for example, who is saying, you know what, I won't just stick to film, I'll go and make documentaries like The 13. Yeah. I'm also going to make TV series like When They See Us. I'm going to make choices to do things that are not necessarily commercially. I still can't watch that thing. And I actually knew the story. I knew the story from 10 years ago. I even used to, even one of the guys, Corey, used to follow me on Twitter, on my own Twitter.
Can I say something? Did you find, what was the reason why you couldn't watch it?
I just can't. I know everything that happens in the story. It's too much to watch. I even know what happens to them when they come out and when they get older. It's too much for me to watch.
You know what? I know a bit of the story. And and when it came out, obviously it was all everywhere. Everybody watch it. I literally put it on, and then 2 minutes I was like, no, you know what? Because I think at a certain point, like, we grew up in an era where there wasn't this much internet access.
Yeah,
so you weren't aware of information. So you kind of hear things and you're like, oh, that can't be true. In the last 5 to 10 years, we've heard and seen, watched it enough that you're like, okay, so this shit is really, really true. Yeah. And it got to the point where I couldn't even take anymore. I was like, no, I can't deal with it.
How are you like, when they, particularly that time when it was like every month, when there was they tell you, oh, this black person was killed.
Yeah.
Like, are you able to watch those things? I can't.
I think I was watching. That's what led to this, because it was like, it got to a point I'm like, do you actually understand what this is doing to your psyche?
Exactly. Even Fruitvale Station till today I haven't seen the end.
I can't. I did. This was what, 2011. So I did back then when I still had the tolerance for it. But now I feel like my tolerance is gone. I need to protect my
Mud with Mary J. Blige. I fast forwarded through there's certain things which I don't want to see anymore. Yeah. I don't mind seeing Birth of a Nation, that Turner film with Nate Parker. I don't mind seeing that. Which they look how they destroyed that. Yeah. The highest selling film at Sundance, and they destroy it. They don't even give it a chance at the box office. What did I tell you? All right, so we've been talking for a little while now. I think we need to wrap up. So I guess, Kofi, thank you very much.
Hold on, we're wrapping up.
I guess we are, right?
Let's change topics.
Change topics, okay.
But to what is the question? You need to lighten the mood a little bit. We're going quite deep.
Nah, man, it's the truth, man. But
it is the truth.
Just to make that point, you should not ever be in a position where you have an opportunity to put somebody through the door and you choose not to. Especially somebody like you. It cannot be about ego. And this is like, and this is why you have to be very careful. Because in that era, in the early 90s as well, you had people like Wesley Snipes coming through the ranks, right? And they would do movies like Passenger 57, the sequel to Fugitive, those type of movies, right? Blade, right?
Yeah.
To a certain extent, because they weren't the box office guy, they didn't have all that power. So you could give them a little bit more. But Denzel and Will have been on top for 20 years. Okay, that's conservative. Denzel has been on top for, okay, let's just say 20 years. Let's just say 20 years. They've been on top for longer.
More, though.
Yeah, he's done more because he won his first Oscar in the 80s, 30 years ago. Glory, 1990 it came out. So his is different. Will got that success really after, I'm trying to think which was the movie that really took him to that next level. I think it was Independence Day. Independence Day, and then really after that, Men in Black 2. So anyway,
even what's his name played his part, even Wesley.
Yeah,
a few films with Sanaa.
Which film? Sanaa?
Disappearing Acts.
God.
Can we talk about in our high school days our love for the likes of Sanaa and Nia Long and
our high school days were till now. Listen, before I got married, Sanaa was still on my iPhone.
Hold on, it was Sanaa Lathan, Nia Long. Who else?
There are a few more.
There's definitely a few more.
Vivica, I guess.
Vivica for
sure. A lot of people like Gabrielle Union. I don't really like her.
Oh, I like Gabrielle Union as well. I think she's actually better now with
she's better now, yeah.
What was the film
Angela
with
Bassett was there
Vivica A. Fox with
Two Can Play That Game.
Two Can Play That Game. Oh my god. That was a game changer, man.
But there was also the other chick who was in she ended up doing that Damon Wayans show. She's hot. The one who played Shelby. She played Shelby in Best Man. Shelby, remember the really annoying girl?
Oh, the Puerto Rican.
She ended up doing, what show did she do again? She did the show with Damon Wayans.
Show.
Yeah, she's banging. But that, she wasn't even there. She's bleached herself significantly. I think if you see Best Man 2, the one that the holiday one, I think she's in it. She in it?
Yeah, she is.
She's massively bleached now. So it's terrible.
These are like chicks we had a crush on.
Oh yeah. But I had like even going into my 20s, man. Like in my 20s, like there was still Sanaa is still there now.
Yeah.
By the way, let's just be clear. But Angela Bassett has fully.
I don't even know what Juju should do.
I don't know. Angela Bassett is next.
There's a new film on Netflix with her and the chick from Desperate Housewives called Motherhood, where they're trying to sort of reconnect with their children and stuff like that. Okay. And I watched the show and I'm like, but Angela Bassett, you could be my girlfriend right now. What's going on? How are you?
Do you see the show that she does, the cop show, the 911 show?
No.
911. It's with her and that chick that plays Harriet Tubman in that other show. Anyway, listen, it's just one of these like people call up for an emergency. It's a very silly show, but anyway, she's in it. She still looks banging. Her husband is gay in it. I'm like, let him be gay. I'll take you. She's still looking good. Nia is okay. Nia is some Nigerian guy.
But the thing is so back in those days, because I think even if you talk to any of my African friends, those films like The Wood, Best Man, what was the other one? Shit, I'm terrible. I can't remember any films now.
Teenage movies.
Not even teenage movies, but the ones that had mainly Morris Chestnut and what's his face.
Okay.
Like literally, this is
how Gabrielle Union.
Deliver Us from Eva.
Yeah.
All those films, no matter who I talk to,
Sugar.
Brown Sugar was my favorite, man.
That's
right. But if you think about back then, due to the lack of representation. Whoever I speak to, whether they're from West Africa, America, South Africa, everybody watched those films because that was so important to us. Because the only times that we got to see.
Let's just put that in perspective for a split second. Best Man is arguably the most successful of all of them. Best Man was directed by Spike Lee's nephew or cousin, younger cousin. Yeah, he produced it. Did you know that? Oh, he put this guy through.
Spike Lee produced it?
Yeah, Malcolm Lee's the one who directs it. Yeah. He directs the second one too.
Anyways, it was
Spike Lee brings this guy through. You see what I mean about imagery? What you have the power to do. And Spike Lee's not. Spike Lee just got success this year after a 30-year career, really. What was I looking for? The Best Man.
Spike Lee's been eaten.
No, he's not broke. There's no two ways about that. But when you talk about, I have island money.
I can buy my island.
Will Smith, I have island money.
That's true.
Will Smith has island money. Do you understand what island money means? Let me just finish there.
Spell it out.
The cost of his movie, to put him in a movie, even if it's a low budget movie, is 100 million. And that was when 100 million wasn't being spent anyhow. Do you understand what it takes for you to be the only human being on the planet and it still costs 100 million to make? Do you understand? You're an I Am Legend. It's you and a dog, and it's 100. Listen, you don't understand what I'm talking about. Maybe this is too far-fetched for you to understand.
It's you and a dog.
It's you and a dog, but the movie still costs 100 million. There are no cars on the street. Nobody's driving them. But it's 100 million. 150 million. I Am Legend. 12 years ago.
I won't spoil your fun.
Do you understand? And then they'll make Red Tails. One of the worst movies with all black people.
That film was terrible, man. Remember we actually got everybody together to go and watch that?
Red Tails filled me with so much encouragement as a filmmaker. I felt, if this guy can do this,
who directed it?
It's in the end, it was George Lucas. He said he did. I think on paper he gave it to the guy, Anthony Hemingway, who was one of the whose credits were Wire episode 3, season 1.
I think George Lucas was at the end. Yo, this is shit. Let me give it to this guy.
Fucked. I can't do this.
I can't put my name on this.
Because the action sequences were sick, but everything else was appalling. Editing was appalling. But look at this. Will made 150 mil it cost to make this movie. In the cast, let's see the extended cast just to see how many they put to be on the safe side. This guy plays a voice, okay? This guy plays another voice. This is crazy. And it's $150 million.
No, but don't forget the CGI involved, man.
Please,
the CGI involved. Come on, you guys.
I can make I Am Legend now. Now, I just need Will. I just need Will. I can make the movie now.
In this room.
In my house.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my Lord.
I think it's actually really like that film.
It's a freaking good film.
It's a brilliant film.
But what did it do for you that told you it's 150 mil? And Will couldn't think, you know what? Jazzy Jeff, let's just get you in a cameo. Let's just get you in a cameo somewhere.
Just play summertime.
You know?
As the zombies are chasing us. Play summertime. We'll get into another podcast.
Yeah, maybe another.
I felt like we've pissed off us.
I think if he listens to this, then he's
not going to listen. What the fuck is he going to listen to this for?
Why wouldn't he listen?
I don't know. I said that confident. Why wouldn't he listen?
He sees his name anyway. He checks it. It's motherfucker.
Why would he listen to this?
Anyway, he sees
so if you tell me, why would he listen to this?
I'm gonna tag this episode. Will Smith episode.
I don't want that kind of heat on my life.
Will Smith episode. Everyone think he's been intimate. Fuck that, man. I'll call it.
Oh God!
But anyway, I think we need to wrap up, man. We've done enough, man. So, guys, I guess tune in again next week.
You say guys, say guy or there's one person that stumbled on this by mistake.
Who we know?
What are you talking about? People who know.
It's me and you.
It's me and you. Oh shit!
All right, man. Listen. So, Kobe, you have social media?
Nah, I ain't giving that shit.
They cast you out.
I know.
Fuck our podcast.
I know, man. Nah, it's cool.
All right.
So I'm Heady27, 28/7, sorry, on Instagram. If you want to add me, it's private, so that means I'm scanning this shit for you. Crazy ass motherfuckers.
I'll block you if you're better. All right.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, man.
You have to give yours too, man.
I don't have one.
Hey,
that's my production company. It says so clearly.
No, but you got no, of course not.
AEA Films is my production company. That's the only Instagram handle I have. I don't have any other. Actually, no, I'm on Abibi Tumi Casa.
What are you talking about? And also, Honora has been very modest here. Like I mentioned previously, Honora is a filmmaker. When was it? When did you make Tales of a Motherland?
10 years.
10 years ago. So, I guess to provide some context, and the reason why Honora is so passionate about this is because he had this vision, this Pan-African vision, way back when we were even teenagers. So he's been living this life for a very long time. Me, I just argue with him, then I go back to my corporate. That's why he's passionate about it. That's why he's got the facts to back it up as well. Me, I'm just a devil's advocate in this situation. Yeah. But he, 10 years ago, he set up his own company, Tales of the Motherland, literally making films and plays about stories from the motherland, casting black people, written books, directed multiple films, doing documentary filmmaking now. New one out. What's
1,000 Years to Timbuktu. Check out the trailer. It's on YouTube. AEA Films UK.
Yeah. Beautiful story making. Next time I'm actually going to travel with you, aren't I?
Yes.
I need to learn my own shit, my own history.
Yes, so
not
please.
Get confused by living in diaspora, man. Charlie, we need to go back home. Live our life. Know our history, not be told our history by.
And teach our kids too.
And teach our kids our history. So, this is good. Life and truth. Thank you very much for listening. And hopefully if we get one listener, we're doing another one. So please,
we just need that one listener.
I'm going to call my mom to just listen to it so that we've registered.
Just tag us on Heady 28, please. Just say I listen.
That's all we need. Just one person. Just do it out of charity, even if you want.
Or even do hashtag I am legend.
Hashtag Will Smith. And we'll do another one.
Alright, guys. Peace out. Thank you very much.